So, dear viewers, have you missed me? Don't lie. You shouldn't watch my review if you fear spoilers. What did we all think of the book? Things start getting tough for our Jazz. This book is full of teases and near misses, so Jazz does get arrested, I was right, but it's all for 2 seconds before he's rescued by G. William Tanner. In this regard, I felt the full potential of tension wasn't quite reached. Jazz continues his lamenting. Am I a serial killer? Am I not a serial killer? I think like a serial killer. I was trained like a serial killer. But I need to see people as people and not things. I actually love this internal battle within Jazz, although I have to say most of it is unfounded. There isn't even the slightest hint that he might cross into the dark side, which I found disappointing. There is a rather amusing paragraph where the author tells us that Jazz fantasizes for the better half of a day about killing his grandmother, and then at last the meeting between Jazz and his father, the ever-present voice in his head, taunting him. That meeting was satisfying. I loved how Dent Sr. played with his son and how easily Jazz fell into the gaps, which is only to be expected. He is only, 17, 18? So meanwhile, the author taunts us and teases us with little snippets from the Impressionist side of the story. So you're waiting for this big build-up, this big confrontation between Jazz and the Impressionist, and who is the Impressionist and what's going to happen. Jazz's teenage angst about sex and Connie is amusing to watch and honest, because I think if a child had been raised as a serial killer, he might just have some qualms about having sex with a girl. I loved the part in the confrontation with the father when he said, "I'm a virgin." The shock and disdain that his father has for him, thinks he is lying. That was a power that he had, and I thought that was a unique power. Billy's taunts about whether Jazz killed his mother are fun and interesting, and I wish I had more from that angle, but then again I didn't realise there was a second book until very recently, so... Billy Dent's parting words to his son as he leaves the prison meeting room are fantastic. The way you came in here wearing your armor, the coldest, baddest son of a bitch on the planet, the way you agreed with me about things, slinging that line of bullpucky about the kid gloves and all that, you were manipulating me and did a damn fine job of it too. And the warning, you won't even know you've crossed the line until it's way back in your rearview mirror. I must admit I didn't expect who the Impressionist turned out to be. It was satisfying. I do admit to expecting a bit of an epic blowout between Jazz and the Impressionists at the end. It certainly felt like it was heading towards that. And because I expected something like that, the ending was somewhat underwhelming. However, having had time to analyse it in more detail, I realised that it was actually a perfectly fitting ending. It involved Connie and Howie. They were the ones to come to the rescue, in fact, and that sat pretty well with me. As I did expect Billy Dent to escape from prison, and I was glad that he did. I expected more of a confrontation, of course, between the two, before I realised that there was a second novel. And I'm glad there is, because it warrants a whole second novel. Jazz. He was wonderful and annoying. His constant questioning himself got slightly tiring towards the end. But that's the way people are. People are obsessive that way. They do question themselves endlessly, and it was honest, it was truthful, and I enjoyed that. And the closing of the novel was just perfect. The vendetta, the new ink in reverse, and Billy's promise that they will talk about his mother very soon. That was very intriguing and an excellent cliffhanger for the start of the second book, which I have to read now. I just have to. It's a must.